Hey friends, I'm Jennifer LaGuardia, your life coach, always here with you to be your encouraging voice. Last week, I had shared about a series I created based on my own life experiences to help you navigate the journey towards having healthy relationships aligned with who you are authentically, what you value, and where you're going in life. This episode centers around what I personally experienced as an amazing starting point: self-awareness, being aware of what healing needs to happen within yourself, and being okay with being vulnerable. So you might have heard this scenario: a person who gets in an accident, rushed to the hospital. Doctor takes care of whatever injuries happened as a result of the accident, proceeds to tell the person that they're going to be okay from the injuries sustained from that accident. However, the doctor discovered something else while in surgery, something critically wrong. And had they not been rushed into the ER because of the initial accident, they would have had no idea that there was an even deeper issue way below the surface that would have eventually killed them. I'm convinced that sometimes the universe, or higher power I personally call God, will allow a situation to happen just to reveal a deeper issue that needs to be healed so that you can move forward and experience life with joy and purpose, growing into the best, most healthiest version of yourself every day, to include being in healthy relationships. Pouring your energy into people who are not aligned with who you are authentically and where you are moving forward in life, that can make life miserable. So as I had shared with you in previous episodes, I had a history of getting involved in toxic relationships. The end point of that horrible cycle I felt like I could never break out of happened after getting in completely over my head in a very dangerous situation with a highly volatile person I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to get away from safely. So backing up a bit, I had always been a deeply spiritual person, but my relationship with God took on a whole other meaning throughout that nightmare. And a series of life-changing breakthroughs happened for me after devoting a lot of time soul-searching, praying, and meditating on long walks. You cannot heal from something you're not aware of. So the first major breakthrough for me was realizing the root cause for how and why I was constantly ending up in these toxic relationships. I realized I had been seriously codependent for years, living my life desperately trying to please other people at the expense of my own well-being. I neglected my own sense of value for so long, I lost myself. I had no idea how to love and value myself. My identity and sense of value was wrapped up in trying to fix and rescue other people. My self-worth was all about winning another person's love. And because of these negative patterns, I had been inviting into my life people I should have never gotten involved with. Being vulnerable was not one of my strengths. In fact, I had been numb to my own feelings and emotions for so long, I felt completely disconnected from myself. When I finally got out of that abusive relationship, the most challenging thing for me was feeling vulnerable and not knowing what to do with that. It was unnerving. But I knew that I had to allow myself to hang out with this vulnerability and work through all these feelings and emotions I was no longer numb to in order to fully heal from the brokenness, the codependency, and put an end to that vicious cycle of toxic relationships. My safe space for this to even be possible was through my time alone with God, out on long walks, praying, meditating, and soul-searching, and journaling. It was a lifeline for me, as well as researching at great length all about codependency and breaking the cycle. I have to add, for anyone that might be in a situation right now, you might feel like you're completely over your head. Going through counseling is a beautiful thing, and it is tremendously helpful. The most important starting point for healing and being able to attract healthy relationships into your life is to first realize what areas in your life need to be healed, and then allow yourself to be vulnerable and go through the journey to being fully healed. Being vulnerable, and it might feel completely impossible. You might be thinking, yeah, that sounds great, but I don't even know how. Or it is way too painful to allow myself to be that open and raw. Believe me, I know, I've been there. As I was sharing a minute ago, for me, diving all into my spiritual life, having a relationship with a higher power I call God, is what empowered me to be able to gradually open myself up completely and be vulnerable. In my time alone with God, out on those long walks with no distractions, layers of scars just came to the surface. And this love I can only describe to you as divine healed those scars and all the pain I had been carrying for years. I felt this deep sense, this revelation that God's love did not ride on human emotions or bad decisions, because no matter how broken I felt, no matter how many what was I thinking moments, God was not judging me. God had an incredible purpose out of all that pain and a plan for my life I would have never thought possible. And it was then that I realized if I could accept the love of God, despite all my flaws and broken pieces, if I could accept this radical, unconditional love, then I could fully love and value myself. Learning how to love and value myself was a monumental breakthrough for being able to attract healthy, loving relationships and block anything that is not. The other critical piece to this is listening to your intuition, which I totally believe to be the voice of God in your heart, lovingly guiding you. I've made it a personal practice to be super in tune with my intuition and not second guess it, even if it does not make sense. God is always moving on your behalf for your greater good, even if it doesn't look like it on the surface. It will save you from a lot of grief and wrong detours. I am thrilled to share more about that in depth, all about intuition later on. And along the wonderful journey discovering your true authentic self, it isn't until you know who you truly are authentically can you possibly know what makes you happy and fulfilled, how to align yourself with relationships that resonate with who you are authentically and where you need to be going in life moving forward. I'm happy to share about all that next episode. Friends, it is so worth taking the time to heal from all the layers of hurt and brokenness so that you don't carry this into another relationship, and so that you are able to fully recognize and receive into your life relationships that are right for you. Practice being vulnerable. Allowing yourself to be open and real, that is the gateway for this kind of healing to happen. And honestly, it's kind of like a superpower for creating those deep, meaningful connections with the right people. I absolutely love you guys so, so much. And with all my heart, I pray over you all that whatever your deepest pain and greatest struggle might be, that you would know there is magnificent purpose evolving out of what you might think is impossible, and that you would experience the radical, unconditional love of God in such a deeply meaningful, deeply personal way. It heals all the brokenness and all your pain, and you can know and love the beautiful masterpiece you are. Don't give up hope. As always, friends, I hope to be an encouraging voice along your journey. So please follow me on Instagram or subscribe to my YouTube channel or subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening on Apple Music, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Awakening Hope with Jennifer LaGuardia. God infinitely bless you all and all those you hold close to your heart.